I'm here with Guy Lewis, the owner of Quail Haven Farms. Guy, can you tell me why you decided to pursue a battlefield conservation easement?
In 2012, I was in quite a quandary. My brother and I had owned this farm ever since our father died in 1968. The family had come to the area in 1917, I believe, with my grandfather, Guy Lewis III. I'm Guy Lewis Sr. Anyway, my brother died early, at age 65. All of a sudden, I was in a quandary with what to do with the farm. I've always lived in Fairfax because that's where we worked. We found it impossible to actually farm ourselves. And all of a sudden, with my brother gone, I just had to think of the future, the value of the farm, and the fact that both my brother and I had lived there extensively. Summertime making hay, used to have to drive the calves in when they were born because the farm in the old days was well over 1,000 acres. And it was a big farm, big dairy farm, and then a big cow-calf operation. Anyway, we were down to 218 acres, and I did not know what to do with the farm, but we loved it. We particularly loved the river. I spent all my afternoons when I was working in the river, fishing, boating, and I became aware that some of the people that we had sold our property to were doing the conservation easements, and I talked to a few people, an appraiser or two, and decided to investigate. And the more I investigated, it seemed like the way to preserve what we had always had down in that area. I knew my father had loved it, and my grandfather also.
And as we went through the process, Guy, what were the three most important things to you in terms of what was going to come out of the transaction?
At my age, although I loved the farm the way it was and was perfectly happy with it, I also had the other side of the family who were not using the farm at all. I had my son, who is a doctor in California, who will not be able to use the farm. And my other son is a very busy, successful businessman. There just didn't seem to be any future, particularly for either side of the farm. So, but I still wanted to preserve it. So the more I looked into this, I had to balance what rights we had to develop the farm, or to I had to find out about building sites, exactly what we were allowed to do and what we would be giving up. And the more I looked at it, it was a way to preserve the farm, and I did not think that we were really giving up a whole lot of value. And I actually came to believe that if we preserve it the way it was, that it would eventually be just as valuable if you sold off house lots. For instance, I could have probably sold off along the road 5 or 6 house sites. I did not think they would be attractive. I thought it would detract from the rest of the property. It was just not desirable.
Okay. And did you know your property was almost entirely in the middle of a battlefield?
I have to say that I was rather ignorant of the entire battle. I knew it was in a battlefield. I did not realize exactly how crucial it was, and at the time I really didn't realize what a barrier the Rappahannock River had been between the northern forces and the southern forces. So as I got into the process and learned more, I grew to appreciate that part of it too.
So we've only been through the process now about 90 days. Do you have any regrets or second thoughts about having gone through the process?
It was important that we received some compensation, because I did think we were giving up some right, and but I don't have any second thoughts. I think we were reimbursed enough for the right that we gave up. Really looking forward to just preserving the river and preserving the battlefield.
Okay. What else would you like to add? What advice would you give other property owners who own battlefield property?
I think you should very seriously consider doing an easement of this type. Everybody's situation is different, but if you really love the property and want it preserved, I think this is one of the best ways you could possibly do it and get some money, and also be doing something for posterity.
Okay.